New updates tonight to a heartbreaking story we've been investigating for months now. Back in June, a woman and her 6-year-old daughter were murdered, and tonight her family is suing the Dayton Police Department and the city, saying officers didn't do enough to keep them safe. Mamie Ba's live here now in studio. Asia Nelson called 911 several times, maybe in the hours before she and her daughter were killed.
That's right, Adam. They did. She called 911 to say her boyfriend was threatening her and she was scared for her life. Police arrived but never arrested Waverly Halls, who went by Dante. They also didn't remove him from the home. Hours later, Asia and her 6-year-old daughter Harper Monroe were killed. The family says it's time for accountability.
We're asking for accountability. We're asking for answers. His family's received none since June of 2022. Here we are over 5 months out and received no answers.
So maybe what's been the response from the police department and the city then on this?
In July, DPD said they were investigating why officers left the scene but never filed a report. I reached out for an update on that investigation, but the police department said it doesn't comment on pending litigation. The city of Dayton said the same. Now, coming up at 6:30, we'll hear from Nelson's mother and older sister.
And before we let you go, you've been working on another big story for tonight too. What's that all about?
That's right. For the first time, I sit down with Jack Runzer. 2 years ago, Runzer, who is battling cerebral palsy, deaf and nonverbal, tells me he had an encounter with police that changed his life. It all started when someone called for a welfare check. Officers arrived, and according to a report from one of the officers, Runzer ignored their instructions and he was acting aggressive. So he was placed in the cruiser for everyone's safety. The officer said that his movements resembled someone that was reacting to methamphetamine use. Did you ever have an encounter with police like that before?
That was my first time having that kind of bad experience with police.
Coming up tonight, the lawsuit filed against the Dayton Police Department, what Runzer's legal team is saying, and what they have to say about accountability.
All right, Mamie, thank you. The city of Springfield is one step closer tonight to finding its new police chief. It's now narrowed the search to just 2 candidates, down from the original 32 applicants from all over the country. Current Chief Lee Graff is preparing to retire at the end of this year, so here are the finalists. Allison Elliott, who's a captain with the Springfield Police Division, and Jennifer Knight, Deputy Chief with the Columbus Police Division. Elliott Knight will have one more interview before a choice is made. And Springfield City Manager Brian Heck says, quote, "Our city staff as a whole has become more diversified in recent years, leading us to what will be the appointment of the first female chief of the Springfield Police Division." Well, less than an hour now until the polls close in Georgia. Voters there are deciding today whether the incumbent Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock or Republican Herschel Walker should win the final Senate seat up for grabs. If Warnock wins, Democrats would have at least one more member on each Senate committee than Republicans. This would make it slightly harder for the GOP to halt the White House's agenda. Now, if Walker wins, every single Democratic senator would have to back legislation to have a chance to pass. The Trump Organization has been convicted of all felony tax fraud counts in a 15-year scheme. A Manhattan criminal court jury deliberated for 2 days, found the organization helped top executives cheat on their taxes by including off-the-book perks like free apartments and luxury cars.
This was a case about lying and cheating, false documents to the end of evading taxes for the benefit of individuals and the corporations.
New York prosecutors have spent 3 years investigating the former president and his businesses. Now, the former president and his family were not charged in this. The Trump Organization could be fined up to $1.6 million, a small amount for a company of its size. Trump attorneys say they will appeal that decision. A live look at our nation's capital now is voting on the Respect for Marriage Act that would require the federal government to recognize same-sex marriages performed in states where they are legal. It would also require states to recognize same-sex marriages done in other states. It does not require states to permit them. And this has already passed the Senate, and President Biden has said he'll proudly sign it into law. The suspect accused of killing 5 people and hurting 17 others at a gay nightclub in Colorado Springs has been formally charged in court today. Anderson Lee Aldrich, who identifies as non-binary, is accused of opening fire with an AR-style rifle inside the club. And today, they were charged with 305 criminal counts, including bias-motivated crimes, assault, attempted murder, and murder. Now, the murder charges likely carry life in prison. Legal experts say someone who is non-binary can still be charged with a hate crime for targeting members of the same group because the law is focused on the victims, not the perpetrator.
We're not going to tolerate actions against community members based on their sexual identity, those types of things. Members of that community have been harassed, intimidated, and abused for too long.
Now, investigators say patrons wrestled that suspect to the ground, preventing further violence. Aldrich has not yet entered a plea or even spoken about the shooting. They're due back in court on February 22nd for a preliminary hearing. Tonight, the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office is investigating a report of an attempted kidnapping. Now, it happened yesterday afternoon. The 911 call from concerned parents just came into our newsroom, and Bryn Caswell is live in Washington Township tonight. Bryn, what can you tell us so far about this investigation?
Adam, investigators say a 13-year-old girl was walking her dog on Stonewater Drive when she was approached by a white man with a beard who was driving a gray silver vehicle. She knew the behavior was suspicious and then took off running for a neighbor's home.
She was walking the dog and somebody came up in a car and with the window rolled down and was holding cash out the car window and tried to get her to come and get in the car. Kind of driving around the neighborhood. She called me to pick her up. She was walking the dog and she had her mom's phone, thankfully, and she ran into a neighbor's house and called me from that house.
So, Bryn, what are police telling parents and neighbors about this tonight?
Adam, the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office is asking anyone who may have any information about this incident to call 937-225-HELP. They're also reminding neighbors, parents, and children to stay vigilant and be aware of your surroundings at all times. Stick with us because coming up later tonight at 10 and 11, I speak to law enforcement experts about self-defense methods your children should know. Reporting live in Washington Township, Bryn Caswell, Dayton 24/7 Now News.
All right, Bryn, thank you. A live look now from our Kettering House Skycam. You can see the clouds. They are very prominent tonight. We had some rain today. Natalie is out on the Watson's Weather patio now with a look ahead for the rest of the evening. Natalie.
Yeah, we got some more showers on the way, more clouds on the way too. Got a pretty cloudy forecast, but some peaks of sunshine to look forward to as well. For right now, temperature-wise, it's pretty mild. We're hanging out at 51 in Dayton. We have 49. That's our current temperature in Troy at this hour, 50 in Sydney with the clouds around, pretty much an overcast sky. We also have the potential for those low clouds and fog developing overnight. Notice we do have a couple of showers making their way through. In fact, our southwestern counties starting to see a little bit of some light rainfall activity, and we'll continue to monitor for some precipitation through the rest of this evening. Overnight, plan on fog as well as scattered showers around. Temperature-wise, we'll be in the 40s through most of the evening as well, but coming up, I am going to have the rest of the week's forecast, let you know when we'll finally see some sun.
Natalie, thanks. Law enforcement officers who defended the Capitol building back on January 6th, they were honored today. Congressional leaders presented them with congressional medals, calling them heroes and defenders of democracy. This is the first time many of those officers have returned to Capitol Hill since the January 6th riots.
Many of us still carry the physical, mental, and emotional scars after that mob of thousands launched a violent assault in an attempt to halt the counting of electoral ballots.
Now, one officer collapsed, later died of natural causes at the scene. D.C. police announced 2 months later that 2 other officers who responded that day committed suicide. At least 955 people have been charged in those riots so far. And the House Select Committee investigating those riots has announced it'll be making criminal referrals to the Justice Department. Now, the committee's chairman said the panel has not yet narrowed down who may be referred, but we're told it'll be focused on the main organizers and leaders of the attacks. And it could include former President Trump and his allies. It's also unclear what offenses that committee will cite. Governor Mike DeWine announcing demolition plans for more than 2,200 blighted and vacant structures in 42 Ohio counties. Now, they're going to be leveled to make way for new economic development and housing opportunities. It's happening here in several Miami Valley counties as well. Included are 9 locations in Auglaize County, 2 in Clark County, including Springfield, 15 in Darke County, 8 in Greene County, including Beaver Creek, Fairborn, Xenia, and Yellow Springs, 37 in Logan County, 11 in Miami County, and 6 in Warren County. Now, funding has been set aside for demolitions in Montgomery and Shelby County, too. Those are going to be announced, though, at a later date. For love of children, bringing Christmas joy to the children served by Montgomery County Children's Services today. Their Christmas for Kids program, delivering the toys from their Christmas toy cottage to 2,400 children in the Miami Valley today who may not otherwise get a gift. That's a new record. Local law firm Dyer, Garofalo, Mann & Schultz has been collecting toys and gifts all season for 30 years.
I think about it on Christmas morning, kids opening these bags of great toys, of warm coats, of mittens, and it makes you feel so good to know that you're spreading happiness. And that is, for me, that's my Christmas. It's my wife's Christmas, and that's the volunteers at Flock. That makes it all worthwhile.
Now, this is Flock's biggest toy drive of the year. Every year, it's grown over 3 decades, from giving gifts to 35 kids to 2,400 today. And you can still make a difference and help local kids right now by making a donation or volunteering your time. The organization is already planning for next year's toy drive. You can learn more at flockdaytonohio.org. A new Ohio House bill wants to overhaul the state's voting laws, but not everybody's in favor. Why some call the proposed changes anti-voter legislation and the impact it would have on elections. Also, sports betting. It's set to become legal in Ohio in the new year. Some apps are already offering you free money if you sign up. Up next, we read the fine print.
Plus, tracking some more showers across the area. How much more rain we're expecting, that's coming up. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Watch carefully and you can see 2 meteors caught on camera near Providence, Rhode Island. It's likely part of the Geminids meteor shower. When it reaches its peak next Tuesday and Wednesday, viewers could see up to 120 meteors per hour. The annual shower is considered one of the Northern Hemisphere's best, but moonlight will make viewing more difficult next week.
Want to see your weather photos and videos on TV? Click Chime In on this station's website to share.
A new House bill could overhaul voting laws in the state, and Republicans in control of the State House hope to get it passed before 2022 is over. Courtney Wheaton tells us why some call these proposed changes anti-voter legislation.
House Democrats urging Ohio voters to take action against House Bill 294.
The anti-voter bill sets up needless and deliberate barriers for Ohioans by restricting where, when, and how we vote. My Republican colleagues want to pass this bill because they think that if they can make it harder for Ohioans to vote, then they'll be able to keep their stranglehold on power.
The bill includes provisions like automatic voter registration and the ability to request absentee ballots online. But the bill would also eliminate early voting the Monday before elections and would change absentee ballot request deadlines from 3 days before the election to 7.
It is an impossibility for you to mail in a request 3 days before, for the Board of Elections to mail back to you the ballot, and for you then to do the third transaction of mailing that ballot back and get all that done by the Monday before the election is an impossibility.
The House Government Oversight Committee will host hearings tomorrow afternoon and Thursday morning in Columbus at the State House. If you can't make it, they will accept written testimony. Back to you.
Well, clouds and rain have been across the Miami Valley, and that's really going to be the trend as we head into these next several days. Here's a look at satellite and radar right now. Pretty much an overcast sky. Got a couple of pockets of rain now pushing into our southern counties, and these are going to continue to lift their way northeastward through the rest of this evening. We have a storm system to our south as well as a front just off to the north of us. Really the focus of this activity that we're going to be monitoring through time. So heading into the rest of the evening, scattered showers. Temperature wise, we're going to really hover into the 40s through most of the evening with those scattered showers and fog expected overnight. Now, it does look like by later into the day tomorrow, we could start to see some clearing, maybe some peaks of sunshine. Temperature wise, we'll be in the lower 50s for our Wednesday afternoon. And then as we head into our Thursday, starting out pretty quiet, but we have another round of rain that's going to be pushing its way in by Thursday afternoon and into the evening as well. So very persistent forecast as we head into these next several days.
Natalie, thanks. Well, there's only a few more weeks until sports betting becomes legal in Ohio. Then bettors will have as many as 16 sports books to choose from. Now, those books are already starting to offer free money to gamblers to get the cash rolling. But is there really such a thing? Tom Bosco digs into the fine print.
You've probably noticed on television and social media advertisements for sports betting with the promise of free bets. It's all there designed to dangle a carrot in front of you in hopes of getting your business. But are those free bets really free? The state of Ohio says yes, and pointed me to a section of the law that says that promotions and bonuses must not require the patron to incur any loss or risk to their own money. The folks over at Problem Gambling Network of Ohio, though, worry that's going to help lure people in, and it's going to increase the risk of gambling addiction.
We're seeing near record calls already, and it's before sports betting's even here.
Derek Longmire with the Problem Gambling Network of Ohio says he is expecting the first quarter of the year next year to be very busy for his organization. Guys, back to you.
Tom, thanks. Well, there is new bipartisan legislation and a push, for a potential immigration reform deal in Congress's lame duck session. Now, there's a rush on this because pandemic-era Title 42, it ends later this month, and a judge might soon end the DACA program.
The cartels are already going to use that to exploit the migrants, to take the crisis and make it even worse. On top of that, Title 42 is going to end. We're going to see a catastrophic crisis continue at our southwest border.
Now, the framework includes a pathway to citizenship for 2 million so-called dreamers, illegal immigrants brought to the U.S. when they were children. Now, it has between $25 and $45 billion for border security and calls for extending Title 42 until a plan is in place to stop an unexpected border surge. Plus, it'll overhaul the asylum system to prevent abuse. Well, Pfizer and BioNTech, they're countersuing Moderna tonight over its patent infringement claims against them. Now, that suit concerns the development of the Pfizer-BioNTech mRNA COVID-19 vaccines. Moderna first sued Pfizer in August, saying the company violated patents on 3 key innovations developed before the pandemic. Pfizer and BioNTech then say they did not copy Moderna's technology to make their shots. In their countersuit, Pfizer and BioNTech asked the court to dismiss Moderna's lawsuit and order that Moderna's patents are invalid and not infringed. A story now from our partners at the Dayton Business Journal. A $33 million project at the Dayton VA Medical Center is finally making some headway. The center has long since been designated as the future home for the National Veterans Affairs History Center. Now, 2 historic facilities on that site will become the baseline center for that project. It's expected to be complete in late 2025 and bring more than 100 new jobs and tourism to West Dayton. And if you'd like to read more about it, you can go to Dayton247now.com. You can find that story and others like it under the Dayton Business Journal heading in the News tab. A free family-friendly event back at the Dayton Arcade. Holidays is a 3-day event with more than 45 small businesses, food trucks, live entertainment, and festive surprises. It all takes place in the historic Dayton Arcade Rotunda.
So this event originally happened as Holidays 1992 and 1993, and then the arcade closed. And so last year, Holidays 2021 was the very first Holidays in almost 30 years. And so we brought it back for the second year in a row, and we're expecting it to be part of Daytonians' holiday traditions.
The event runs from 3 to 8 today and tomorrow, as well as Thursday, so you can get out there and have a great time.
Well, it's been a gloomy one out there today. Lots of clouds. It seems like almost a rain type of all-day type of event, but not quite the case. We've only seen 1/100th of an inch of precipitation for today, so that leaves us at 6/100ths of an inch of rainfall for December. So we're at a deficit at this point, but we do have some more rain on the way. Some scattered showers tonight. Our better shot at rain does look to arrive as we head into Thursday night as well as Friday. Now, temperature-wise, fairly pleasant. Take a look at this. Future temperatures, we're tracking lower 50s for our Wednesday, 50 on Thursday. Same thing with Friday. Back into the upper 40s on Saturday as well as on our Sunday, too. So we do have above normal temperatures. Average high temperature this time of the year, 44. So we're going to be above that number over these next several days. I'll let you know when we could cool off coming up.
Natalie, thanks to Dayton Ballet bringing back a classic Christmas tradition. Sneak peek at what's going on at the Schuster Center this weekend.
And now it's time for your TikTok of the day. Today, let's take a look at a cool pop-up storm. Hey everyone, so this is one of my favorite time lapses of a pop-up storm. So take a look. These clouds get darker on a hot summer day. They fill up with moisture and eventually the bottom just drops out. Check out all of that rain in just a short amount of time. You see that cool air rushing outward from out of that storm. Overall, this storm dumped almost an inch of rain in a short
the Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
A Christmas tradition taking center stage this weekend at the Schuster Center. Nathan Edwards has a sneak peek for us.
A Miami Valley tradition is back here at the Schuster Center this weekend and next. The Dayton Ballet is presenting the Nutcracker, the iconic show that families and people of all ages love to see every single year. So if you want to catch it, you just got to come down here to the Schuster Center. Make sure you get your tickets ahead of time. They're $20 to $90 depending on where you're sitting. And they're going to be having performances not only this weekend, but next weekend as well. In total, there are 8 performances. So plenty of time to come on down here to the Schuster Center, catch the show, introduce a new generation to the program. Super great. Also checked out the Reich's windows, which are now up here at the Schuster Center as well. So grab your tickets now. The Nutcracker is happening again this weekend and next. Come on down here to the Schuster Center and enjoy the show.
Well, it's going to be overall not feeling quite like December out there. We have above normal temperatures. It may look like it with the clouds and the rain, but really not feeling like it. 50s and 40s for temperatures. Average high 44. We're expected to be above normal, not just through the end of this week, but really as we head into next week, too. It does look like by Tuesday, Wednesday timeframe of next week, that's going to be our next weather maker that will be sending a cold front into the region. So you'll see that here on our extended forecast. 50s over these next several days. We do have some fog in the forecast as we start off the day tomorrow, so keep that in mind, a lot like what we saw out there for today. And then 50s through the middle of the week. Another chance for rain Friday. By next Tuesday, could get close to 60 degrees, and that's when we start to monitor another storm system that will make its way in.
What an odd last 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's been all over the place. Lots of up and downs.
Yeah.
So.
All right, Natalie, thanks for being with us tonight. We're over on Fox 45 next.